It's Monday, November 4th, 2013, and let's talk about what happened this weekend over at HTEdevelopers.com. In all honesty, I'm going to go ahead and tell you up front, the grand majority of the news was related to Android 4.4 and the Nexus 5, so if that's not for you, and honestly, it's probably for most of you, go ahead and stick around if you're interested in that, otherwise we'll see you in a couple of days. First up, the Nexus 5 just released. It's been out not even long enough for me to have received mine yet, but apparently Chainfire received his, and lo and behold, he's gone ahead and rooted it. He has updated his CF Auto Root application to include the Nexus 5. This works, of course, on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and is a very simple, painless process. Honestly, once I get my Nexus 5 in, hopefully tomorrow, I will see if I can do a video showing off how to actually make this happen, just so you can get a feel for it, but it's pretty straightforward. Additionally, this weekend, the source code for Android 4.4, specifically the KRT16M build, became available over on the Google site. And additionally, images and binaries are now available for the Nexus 5 for Android 4.4. Unfortunately, however, Android 4.4, there are no other builds for it available yet, but they say that it's going to be coming soon to the Nexus 4, the Nexus 7, the Nexus 10, the Google Play Edition, HTC One, and Samsung Galaxy S4, and even the Moto X and the new Droids, the Droid Max, the Droid Mini, the Droid Ultra, which is surprising because those are Verizon devices. So in the next few weeks, we should see builds start to roll out for all of these devices, and of course I'll let you know as I know more as well. But if you're not too keen on waiting, and if you're here, you're probably not terribly keen on waiting, there are some early builds available for the Nexus 4 and the Nexus 7. These come courtesy of the Paranoid Android team, and the Nexus 4 build was done by XDA recognized developer Francisco Franco. The Nexus 7 2012 edition was done by XDA senior member Evan A, and the Nexus 7 2013 edition was done by XDA recognized developer Aaron Power User. Now, I shouldn't even have to mention this, but I'll go ahead and do it anyway. Make sure you read through the forum thread before you go ahead and do this. This should be considered early beta, possibly even early alpha, because the device binaries haven't been released yet, the device source isn't official or anything yet, but the community is working on it, as it has always been done, and as it will always hopefully be done. Now, the one thing you may have noticed, or probably did notice, that I didn't mention there in the early, where I was saying what was actually going to be getting Android 4.4, is the Galaxy Nexus. Yes, at this point, Google has said that the Galaxy Nexus is not going to be getting an official build of Android 4.4 KitKat. The official reasoning is that it's outside of its 18-month window for updates, so they're not even going to consider it a device anymore. They're just going to throw it off the side of the road. And from reading on some other sites, a lot of other people seem to think it has to do with Texas Instruments getting out of the system on a chip market, moving on to other different areas of development. So yeah, if they're not making the devices anymore, what point is there to continue updating and providing new drivers for it, other than not sucking entirely? However, the next two stories are related to this, so don't be too sad. There are already source-built Android 4.4 releases for the Samsung Galaxy Nexus, the Google Galaxy Nexus, whatever. Now, the thing to mention here is that anything that's built for it at this point is going to have some glitches. There are going to be some things that aren't working. I think specifically I've seen in the threads about it, GPS isn't working on most of them. There are some graphical glitches, specifically with regard to the Chrome browser or maybe in other areas of the OS. And there's even a version of Android 4.4 for the Verizon Galaxy Nexus, so if I can get my hands back on the Galaxy Nexus for Verizon in a couple of days, maybe I'll show you what that one looks like at this point. There are a load of different people out there building these ROMs for the Galaxy Nexus, depending on what different carrier you're on. So I will, of course, have links to the stories where you can go ahead and check those out and give thanks to those people in the forum threads that are actually doing the work. Definitely big thanks to you guys. When a company goes out of their way to stop supporting something, it's very nice to see members of the community step up and offer their support and offer their service. And the last thing that I thought I would mention today, for those of you unfortunate souls that will not be able to get your hands on Android 4.4 for a while, and to be quite honest, that's going to be an awful lot of people because there's an awful lot of devices out there that just aren't going to be getting it immediately. Several of the Android 4.4 APKs have gone ahead and been pulled out of the official image, and just to give some specific, XDA senior member GeoWorld200 pulled out the Android 4.4 launcher and provided a relatively simple set of instructions for getting it working on your device. Keep in mind though, you'll probably want to be running Android 4.1 or higher in order for this to work. XDA senior member LM Prowse posted the APKs for Hangouts, Camera, Google Now, Gallery, Contacts, and Dialer. Unfortunately, some of these, Contacts and Dialer, have turned out to be a little bit more difficult to get running on devices, but for the grand majority of the other ones, they should work just fine. I've seen a lot of images coming up on Google Plus of people with these newer APKs, so it shouldn't be a big deal to get them running, but as usual, do make sure to just read through the forum thread for all the details there. And actually, I think that's going to be about all from me for today. This has really turned more into a let's talk about the new version of Android, but yeah, that's kind of fun stuff, so let's keep doing that. I will be back at you again at least one more time this week before this Friday, so I will see you then. Always remember, if you like this video, you can go ahead and hit that like button down below the video. We would appreciate it. Subscribe to receive our content as soon as it becomes available. Thank you so much for watching though, and I will see you again sometime soon. Bye guys.